September 11th, 1969 in Lakewood, Colorado. Go, Belle.
85 years ago, my father was born in Gilmer County, Georgia on September the 11th, 1884. Buddy, you remember on Sunday mornings, Papa and Mama used to take us out to hunt guinea eggs?
Yes.
And you couldn't go into the guinea nest with your hand.
No, you always had a spoon.
Of course, because
You dipped them out with.
Why'd you need a spoon?
Because the guineas wouldn't come back to the nest if you put your hand in it.
And you know something else? You remember another thing about the old rooster was over on the hill, and he said, "What are you doing over there?" And the guinea replied, "Protracting, protracting, protracting." Protracted mating, you know.
What was the coolest water you ever drank, Buddy?
Spring water.
Down at the bottom of that hill at Kennesaw,
Yes.
where we ran down. And
Yes, where we used to bring up the water every day.
where I ran down that time,
And you broke your
I
arm.
broke my arm, and Aunt Emma.
Fixed it?
You remember that, Aunt Emma?
Yes, you had your arm broken once, and I had my arm broken twice while I lived there.
I
Never
got blamed
went
for
to
your
doctor.
broken arm, though. You didn't get blamed for my broken arm.
Well, no, because you just went sliding down the hill and broke it. But you were on the other side of the seesaw when I broke mine. I remember that.
Dee Dee was
It
home
wasn't
from
your
Berry
fault.
Schools when you broke your arm, and I was on the other side of the seesaw. Everybody picked you up and said, "Oh, poor little Pidgey, poor little Pidgey."
How could I help that? That was just another thing. I was a tomboy. I always broke something. Or had my toe sliced off or something. Remember that? Remember when I had my toe
Hey,
sliced?
you remember when we first came to Kennesaw?
What was
Papa
it like?
sold old Ford that kicked him in the mouth, and I think he traded it in for, maybe traded some lumber in for the 27 acres up at Kennesaw.
I remember getting there.
You remember the old fireplace where we used to live?
No, I
With the
only
fig tree in
remember.
the back?
I remember when we had a little baby that died there, and I remember the neighbors coming in bringing a wooden box to bury the baby in. But I don't remember, and then I remember going down away from the place, but that's all I remember about that place.
What do you remember about the fireplace, Belle?
Fireplace? I remember it had a long lane from the mailboxes up to the house, and there's a fig tree back in the back. And Papa always made us get up real early in the morning, and Dee Dee used to like to sleep late, and late those days might have been 4:30 in the morning. And Dee Dee would go out and sit in the fig tree and kind of go to sleep, and Papa come out and stir up her again about 4:45. I remember a lot of things about that place. How we had a little puppy one time, and Mama was sick. She was sick for several months, and Papa was working all the time, and Don was about 18, I guess, and
How about the trip over to Kennesaw? What was it like?
Well, we went in a wagon, and it was pouring down the rain, and we got there, and my father was real happy about having the 20 acres at Kennesaw. And we got there, and I could see on Mama's face that she thought, oh my God, how in the world will I ever get through this? Because you could look up through the roof. There was light coming through because there was holes in the ceiling, and it was kind of a ratty looking place. That turned out to be pretty good. And now when you go back there, you remember all those things too. And I keep thinking about that spinning wheel that's up in top of that attic that
Sealed in?
Still there.
Tanner, did Bert Tanner put it there?
It's still there.
Or was it Grady Jackson?
It's Grady Jackson.
No, I'll bet it's still up there in that
It is.
attic. I'd sure as heck like to get it out. Because there's a lot of things about that Kennesaw place that I didn't like, but there's a lot of things that I did.
But
Remember?
the thing about Daddy was that I always thought he was a real human being. And he tried to make people feel, to me at least, that he loved you. And on that place there, it was just, we never had very much, but he always made us feel that he was going to give us part of him. And that was rambling around in the woods, at least when I was growing up. And I don't know if you were there or not, when we used to go, and we used to go down by the railroad tracks and walk along the tracks and down by the springs and get watercress and this thing and the other.
The railroad men flirted with you?
Yeah.
We used to graze the old cow up there by the railroad track.
Yeah, remember that old cow? And remember when I hit the bull in the middle of the forehead and he fell down in the ditch, and I just said he stumbled and fell? Now, bull doesn't do that. So Daddy knew that I must have hit him because I was mad at him. But I had a real rock in my hand, and I was mad at him, and I just hit him, and I got him right in the middle of the forehead, and he just tumbled over. He was knocked out.
That was after I was gone from home?
No, I think you were there, but you didn't even know what happened. Because I was the one supposed to put that old bull in the...
Remember that night I was trying to remember how come I didn't protect you when you were going to school at Kennesaw?
Yeah.
Well, I can't hardly remember you at Kennesaw.
Why can't you
That's
remember
because
her,
you didn't
Belle?
like me.
No, I was just... I can't remember. Because I remember taking my...
Well, see, you block it out. You block things out of your mind, I guess.
No, I remember going...
But I remember Chambers. Like that old Chambers. And we used to tease you about it.
Well, next time I see Mama, I'm going to say, who in the heck was Chambers? Because
Well, Mama
I
don't
can't
know
remember.
Chambers any more than I do, like a chamber pot. But I remember going down, and you were always with somebody else, going down the hill, and that old Chambers boy's trailing right in after you.
I can't remember going down that hill with anybody. Because I remember that when I was born, my name was Talitha Isabel. I was named after Grandma Malky. And Isabel, I forget who that was now. But anyhow, they gave me $5 for being named after him. And Papa always told me he put it in the bank. You remember that old bank up there at Kennesaw right above the mailbox?
Yes.
That's where I always thought my money was.
Mr. Chalker.
The $5.
Chalker.
No, that red bank. Cause
Well,
Papa
it
said he
might
put
be
it in the
there right
bank.
now.
And I kept thinking, when in the world can I ever go up there and dig that money out of that red bank? I never did. I don't know.
Maybe it's still there.
But anyhow, this day and time, I like my name. I like Talitha. I like Isabel. I like Anna Ardella.
I never did like that, and even on my birth certificate, you ought to see what it says.
I like-
Ann West Ross.
Well, you know, when you get older, you appreciate.
But I never liked Annie Ardelli.
Well, it wasn't Annie Ardelli. It was
Annie
Anna.
Ardella.
Annie Ardella.
That's right.
And it was Harold Rudolph, which is pretty. And then it was Charles Spurgeon. Agnes Ulema, Bonnie Elsie, which was changed to Janet or Dee Dee. I like Bonnie. Then there was Donald Lee. Now, I
And
think
who's
those are
he?
good names.
Which is that
Then
one?
there's Myron Howard Ross.
That's right.
I think that's a respectable, pretty name. And Rowena Ross, and Jansen was named for Rowena, right?
Remember when we lived at Kennesaw? You remember? I know you remember Jordan Bullocks.
Jordan Bullock says your paw.
Joseph Frazier is your mom. Now what?
Pick 'em out! Pick 'em out!
Do you remember though when he used to lay over there with mud on him, all over him? Now where were you then? Now you remember that.
I was right there.
I know you were right
But
there,
how did
but
you get to school? You can't remember.
Walked, of course.
well, where did you
Who'd you
walk?
walk with?
Did
I
you
just-
walk
walking with
I
anybody?
milked the cow and took off and walked.
Alone.
Right.
by yourself?
So
Well, I don't
Charlie
remember
walked
that
with
much.
Lemma.
I don't
Well,
Buddy
remember.
no,
walked
Charlie.
I don't remember. I remember milking the kid. Oh, let me tell you something funny though. Once my mother sent me to the store. Lemma had had a snake bite, and we said it was a pilot snake, the old pitted pilot snake. Mama sent me to the store, up to that. I don't remember what the name of it was, but
Hills?
wasn't Hills.
Wootens?
Kennesaw?
Wootens.
Wootens. Yeah, okay,
Wootens.
Wootens. So she gave me 35 cents to go get snake bite medicine. And on the bottle it said 30 cents, so I figured I had a nickel extra. So I bought me some little chocolate suckers. And I went back home. I gave the medicine to my mama. And she says, "What did you do with the other nickel?" I said, "Oh, it cost the 35 cents. She says, "It says 30 cents on the bottle. Why didn't you bring some of the candy back to the other children?"
And you
pretty
ate
good.
it on your way home.
No, I remember that so well because it said on the bottle 30 cents. See, so I spent the 35.
Mhm.
And I thought I'd fool her. And then remember the time when Rudy was a little boy. You had a boyfriend coming. Now I don't know this for sure because I was already grown up and gone away.
Oh, yeah.
When Rudy took chicken.
Oh, God. We've had that a long time ago.
Now, what about when your dad was plowing in the field? What do you remember about how he used to work?
He used to work so hard. And he would be so hot. And we had a little pool down there, a dammed up place in the creek. When he got so hot and tired, he'd come down and just flop in this pool.
Wasn't
With
very deep.
all of his clothes on. No, not deep at all. Just enough to get him wet. And then he would go back. It's no pool at all. It's just
Maybe
a
a
dammed
foot
up
deep
branch. Dammed up sort of a branch. And then he would go back and he'd plow again until all the clothes dried on him. And then he'd come and do the same thing again. Sometimes you could see at least once, twice, 3 times a day he used to do that. And I used to think, well, that's not good because I couldn't stand to have the wet clothes on me to go back and do work anymore. And I used to worry about it, and I'd ask him not to do it. But he'd never, he'd say, "Oh, I have to do it because I'm so hot, I'm so uncomfortable." And we'd continue to do it. And I don't think that's what killed him. I know it wasn't, but maybe it might have added something to his condition.
Can you remember the summer that Papa had typhoid?
Yes,
And Mama was worked to frazzle,
yeah.
and
We all had
Elsie
that.
was home from Berry schools,
Mhm.
and then she got typhoid later too. That was the summer that you took the soda crackers and put them up your bloomer leg.
Yeah.
Same summer,
Wasn't
huh?
Because I never had a soda.
Yeah,
I
she's
never
just
had a
local then.
cracker. I never had a soda cracker in
Mama
my
had
life.
made you some old red bloomers of some sort. I don't know where she
No,
got
but
that
these were
material.
white ones. and they had a band that
Red.
came down below your leg. No white fringes?
Red bloomers.
Uh-uh. These
Oh,
were
my-
white. Maybe I didn't have those on. You know, I was always changing my bloomers. But I remember the old mule that died. Do you remember
Oh,
that?
that old gray mule.
We had
yeah.
to bury him. They had to dig the
Diddy
hole.
called him old clubfoot.
Yeah, he died. And to add to all the rest
Where
of
was
it.
Don that summer? It was in Denmark.
Where
I
was
think.
Don any summer?
In Denmark, I think. That summer.
Mm.
I believe so. Cause that was, yeah, I was mixed up in that too, though. Cause Papa had typhoid. I don't think you'd be big enough then to be eating soda crackers.
Sure it was.
Oh yeah, cause Papa had typhoid, and he was so hungry because they wouldn't let you eat anything.
And the one that went
I
and
put
gave
the
him
syrup on
syrup,
the-
some
yeah,
syrup,
Yolkas had to
and then syrup and what else? Bread?
syrup on the crackers.
Syrup and something that
Yeah,
almost
that's
got
the
him.
same time, yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause you took the soda crackers in your blue
And I
Rex,
put it out,
took
yeah. And went around the smokehouse.
Mm.
And I ate it. And it
And
was,
and the old
somebody caught me doing it. Who caught me?
must have been
Must have been. Nothing. Did you ever hear a laughing machine? Let's have a laughing machine.
But you remember, Buddy, you remember how you used to go down from Kennesaw at the house there? You remember the cattails? Papa and Mama used to, the cattails, and we'd put them down the road, down old Rocky Road there
Oh
at Kennesaw.
yeah, around
At Christmas
and making
time,
them quirt.
clear over almost to the Wigglies.
Yeah,
Yeah, and then
and set it afire,
set it afire, and then
and it
the
would burn.
flame would go all the way down the road.
Just like a wiggly, 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 wiggly.
Clear over to the
Oh,
Wigglies.
wasn't that fun? You used to have to pull them off too.
And then you talk about Chestnut Mountain.
Yeah, Chestnut Hill.
Chestnut Hill, yeah. Where Charlie was telling the story about the coach whips
Yeah,
getting hold of him.
yeah.
And then Bob always told me the story about Coach Whips that chased him. Or chased somebody.
And the tail would come around and screw in your ear.
After they whipped him to death,
Yeah, and then they
the snake thought that it would stick his tail in his ear and tickle him.
And you always believed it.
And if he moved, then it started whooping some more.
Boy, what a thing. But those were two great big coach whips when he brought them over that morning.
That was a big long trip from our house at Kennesaw over to Chestnut Hill too.
Yeah, but I used to go there lots when Charlie lived there, and I used to bring up the water from the spring away on the other side of that little cabin. When Charlie and Flora lived there, and I'd bring up the water, and 2 or 3 times it'd just be shinnying down, shinnying back, you know, nothing for me to do. And then skeet back home again.
But you're talking about snakes now down there in that old New Ground place over at Chestnut Hill, right down below. You remember before you got up to the beech trees and everything?
Yes.
Old Charlie and Lemma were out catching snakes. They caught a water moccasin and put it in Lemma's bonnet. And I don't know, I guess I was a little bit younger because I didn't like snakes and I just took off and left them. But I remember that was the same New Ground though. Yeah, and then when they got home, Mama said, "What you got in your bonnet?" And Lemma had the snake. But to go back to the other place, you remember how you used to get up on the stump and say, I'm trying to get this mixed up now, when you used to say, "Hop on this and crow," and
Yeah.
you also. But Lemma and Charlie, they'd get up on a stump, and on the hoe handle, And the hoe would be up in the air, and she was sitting up there on the hoe. And how does it go now? It was some rhyme about get on a hoe and jump out a piece, except she tore her dress, and she said, get on a hoe and tear out a piece.
I don't know that one.
Do you remember it? Yeah, I can't remember it now. Mama would, though.
Yeah, you have to ask
It was
Mama
right
that.
down below Miss Watson's and Mr. Howell's place. And in spite of all that always went on with the Watsons and the Howells and the Leo Frank deal, old Mr. Howell used to have the best cornbread, and Miss Watson was so good.
It's 'cause you're so darn hungry when you got there.
No, I wasn't hungry. But anyhow, Miss Watson used to make me feel real good because I always kept you in line, and Rudy, like a little mother, you know. she used to comment on, oh, that Belle really keeps those kids in line.
Now, I don't remember that.
Well, I do, because don't you remember?
Man, I must have been awful little then. I don't remember that at
Well,
all.
you guys used to run around like crazy, and I'd,
Calm us down. Rudy and I used to catch snakes too. And you never had. That's what the trouble was. You didn't like bugs. You didn't like snakes. Remember that? Like
What
What did
anything.
you like, Belle, while they were fooling with snakes? What was you fooling?
She just liked to keep us in line.
I guess so.
We had well, when we went down in the creek right down below our house. Remember when Daddy caught the little cat that looked pretty? Were you there when he caught the cat that looked pretty?
Yeah.
Prettiest little thing he ever saw in his life. And he yelled, Lily, Lily, come on down, show me what kind of thing this is. And then when Mama got down halfway, he says, oh, dadgummit, you needn't come. Now I know what it is. Damned old skunk. Remember that?
It sprayed him by the
Yeah.
I bet he said, Dad, burn it.
Dad burn it. Yeah, that's right. But,
You took walks with your daddy?
all the time.
Where would he take
Every
you?
Sunday. All along the railroad tracks for miles around, in by Bud Lewis's place. Down each spring, we came across about 5 or 6 springs, and any time it's like a horse getting to a branch. Everybody had to have a drink of water. And he'd take his old hat off and turn it up and make a cup out of it. And we would drink out of it. Dip it in that cool spring water, and we'd drink out of that old hat brim. And then we'd get back home.
Good.
It tasted real good. And we used to go along the railroad tracks, and he used to be so careful. I remember when we pick up paper cups and stuff like that. We never saw anything like that those days. Pick up paper cups that people had used. He'd say, now look, don't put them to your mouth. Just hold them. You can put sand in them. But he'd go down to the creek and wash them off. And then he'd let us play with them. But never to drink out of. They always caution us about that, and that's about. And then we used to stand there and watch the people on the trains and wave to them.
The old what was it, the Rome Express.
That
Yeah.
would be a lot of passengers on there?
Oh yeah,
It
a
was
lot of
about
passengers.
3 cars long, and then there was a freight train that came along, and Charlie and Lemon, I guess. I don't remember riding it, but I remember they used to talk about taking the corn to the mill on it down to Kennesaw.
They used to talk about that. I don't know if they did. I guess they did if they said so. If they let them.
Well, Belle, what about, if you handle it, it just makes scratching noises on the recording. How about telling us about, you went to high school at Heinemann, Kentucky.
Well, it is not Heinemann.
Well, you tell us
Kentucky.
where.
It is Heinemann.
Go ahead.
Well, I'm sitting up here and that thing's down
Go ahead. You speak towards it. It's moving. See if you give it enough volume. See if you're talking very light, you know.
Okay, when I was about, it seems to me like I was about 12 years old. I can't remember exactly, but when I left Kennesaw, I had a rising on my leg. You know what a rising is?
Mm-hmm.
You know, kind of a
Yeah,
boil?
yeah.
Okay. So I traveled by bus up to Hindman, Kentucky, went to Louisville and changed buses and everything, and I was there for maybe 2 weeks, and that ride kept getting bigger and bigger. I was kind of embarrassed because it was kind of high up, and I didn't say anything about it. I just go out to the little girls out in the house out there at Hindman, Kentucky. Look at my boil. That was a very interesting experience.
You and your boy.
Okay. But Hindman, Kentucky was one of the best experiences I ever had in my whole life, because I was part of the group there, and my brother Don had been there teaching before, and Mabel was a teacher. So I got to work in the principal's office, and Leroy Sturdivant was courting me.
Leroy Sturdivant.
Leroy Sturdivant. He was a real
Let me
extra.
back this up a minute and see what. Do you think it's picking? I'm going to see if it's if the level of it is sufficient. It should be picking up.
Well,
About
it'll
is
indicate.
your time? See, like now. What I'm wondering is, could I get it in any position so it's moving all the time? How about you?
Now it is moving all the time. No, it is not moving all the time.
Well, you speak a little sharper into it and see if it moves all the time with your voice.
Do you move all the time?
Yeah, see? Okay, we're back on the record, Belle, if it's working. And tell me more about Hindman, Kentucky.
Hindman, Kentucky was a wonderful place. I went there straight from Kennesaw, and I was with a group of people that was my age, and we lived in what the GIs, I guess, would call the barracks, but it was a boarding house where we had, maybe 150 girls in the same place. And I loved every minute of it, because Mama used to send me fried chicken biscuits with fried chicken in it, if that's how you should say it. Mama would send me a box, and then I became very popular because all the girls would gather around and we'd eat the chicken and the cookies that Mama had sent me. And there was no toilet facilities there, except everybody had chamber pots outside the door. Every single room wheeled and went outside, and the chamber pots started rolling all down the hall, and the old house mother came like an old wet hen.
Go ahead, let's test it.
Okay, you want to know when my real happy life began?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That was when I was in Alabama in about 1934, and I met Bart Logan, and he had said to Janet, Elsie, I would like to have a girl like you. Can't you order off to Sears and Roebuck and get me one? She said, well, I'll try. So at that time I was in Nashville Agricultural Normal College up at Nashville, Tennessee, and a Seventh-day Adventist place. So I went down to visit Dee Dee and Nat, and I met Bart Logan. He was the most horrendous, sophisticated, sarcastic guy I had ever known in my whole life. And then he got to kind of courting me around. We went over to the rock quarry, and we went in a few times. And he said, well, that'd been about, he didn't say that, but it'd been about 4 months I'd known him. And he said, why don't we get married? I said, no, I don't want to. So he said, well, God damn it, then don't. So he started off down the sidewalk, and I ran after him, and I said, oh, yeah, I will, come on back. So we got married, and that started the happiest portion of my whole life. And I never regretted 1 minute of it. Not 1 minute.
That's